this technology I think is so unique. And I want to jump into, so we've set the scene, EMF's bad, right? Things are getting worse. But here's the deal. There's a lot of EMF products out there that talk about the benefits and the understanding that I have good understanding in all areas of toxins, but I'm not like super deep in the areas. But when it comes to EMFs, I know a lot of these EMF technologies, the kind of the gist of how they approach it is you're a radio and you pick up radio signals. So rather than picking up the 5G signal, why don't you pick up a scalar signal? So you're not blocking it, you're just kind of ignoring it. So there's a lot of different technologies out there. They're doing different things. What is it about your technology in particular? Because as I said, you kind of position it as EMF mitigation, but it does this kind of regeneration thing, which for me, that was the value that I've received. Because I'm like, oh, wow, I'm feeling a lot bit like just different. And we'll talk about that. So compared to the standard products out there in the market, how does your product differ in terms of the technology and what it does?
We are really focused on the photonics of life, the light. How do we amplify natural light? And that natural light could be from the sun, it could be from our bodies. How do we amplify and so both improve the quality and the quantity of light in and around you? And that to me is the biggest difference, because now that we can manipulate the surface of these metals using a process called plasmonics. Physics allows us to change the surface of the metal. We see it in diabetic needles. We see it with super fast computer chips. We see it with satellites. And when they open up their panels to collect solar photons for their energy, they plasmonically alter those panels, enhance the amount of energy they get from that solar photon. So they're manipulating the metal. It might be a gold film, but it's actually an altered version of that gold film to make it work better with that light, make it more efficient. And that's what we're actually baking in and we're using with these plates. So we're actually taking the natural light and amplifying the quality and the quantity of those natural photons. When those photons interact with your body, it passes enough information and energy to, say, your electrons to then give them the proper spin to then go and communicate to the rest of the body, the cells and the mitochondria, what they should be doing. So it's about improving the quality of the information exchange as well as the energy or the spin of the cells that your body is being affected by. So when we look at it compared to like other products that maybe you have some products that get plugged in and produce a counter frequency, and they're kind of like a noise canceling headphone in that sense. You still have the white noise in the background, but now you have an electronically produced counter frequency that mutes the effect of the background noise on your eardrum. A lot of companies will produce those types of devices too for the cells and say, well, hey, we're mitigating the effects of EMF by putting a counter frequency in. The challenge I have with that approach long-term, it could have some short-term benefits, but long-term, we're using electricity again. And electricity is what is the major villain here. Electricity, if you take like an oxygen molecule, to have it be stable, it has 8 electrons, it has 6 in the outer shell. This is the classical view of an oxygen molecule. If you have 6 on the outer shell, they all want to be equal distance from each other. It's kind of like coming around this microphone. They just want to be balanced. But when you get a strong positive electrical field come through, it polarizes that oxygen molecule for a second. So that'll cause it to spin up in energy or down in energy. And for that second, when it might be needed to make a chemical reaction, say with carbon to make CO2, is not readily available for that. And then that creates stress. When we use our photonics devices to mitigate that effect, we're creating a field of resonance that is energetic, that's from the natural light, that actually allows that oxygen molecule to remain balanced. And the positive ion field is now no longer strong enough to cause that disruption. And that's why you'll feel more energy. And we've had this tested by multiple groups. You'll feel more energy. In fact, even by dark field microscopy, where you're looking at the cells and it's illuminated in the back and you see the light emission, like the aura from each cell, dramatic change from before and after with how much light is being emitted from that cell. And that's a direct connection to the health of that cell. The healthier a cell is, the brighter it shines. And so we're helping this shine brighter. It's at a higher quality of energy, which means it's not going to get knocked out of balance by all the electricity in the area. If you're just using a counter frequency, you don't get that same effect long term. And then you don't get the rejuvenation, because as those cells, what is it with your kidney? I think you get a new kidney, say every 4 to 6 months, it replaces itself. And same with the liver, right? It's actively replacing itself. So if you're in this high quality zone of health where your cells are bright and vibrant, when they regenerate, they're going to regenerate. They'll be stronger. There'll be that epigenetic benefit that we get now with each succeeding generation of cells, where they become stronger and healthier. If you're just using counter frequencies, I don't think you get that, as well as if you're just using copper or some other type of maybe embedded frequency where it's a specific 810 nanometer or 520 nanometer wavelength. I think you miss out on the complexity of the natural light that our plates get to amplify because of the approach we've taken.
So essentially, it regenerates the body to a certain degree. And just so I'm very clear, looping that into the EMF mitigation, is it because you're amping up the kind of energetics of the cell that protects you from the EMFs? Is that how it works?
Yeah, we're creating a stronger resonance, stronger photonic resonant field in the body, which makes it more resilient against the EMF and other toxins as well. Like, right? I mean, you're going to have a higher resilience.
So I want to jump into the different products, because you've got different types. We're both wearing these pendants, and that's what I bought from you guys back in October. Before we jump into that, my question is, you have home units that obviously have a wider kind of range. What I'm curious to know is, obviously it can protect a certain kind of radius of area. Is it stronger protection the closer to the unit you are? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because this is a very important difference between our products and a lot of other products as well. So these plates have an active side. So on the pendant, the active side is this smooth side that you have towards your body. On the home units, this is the 5-inch light tower. It has an active side too. By itself, it acts like a very coherent beam of light, like a flashlight or a laser beam, where it's very directional. So wherever I face this, there is a 5-inch square beam of light going off in a direction. And I did have brain injury a few years ago. So if I wanted to treat that brain injury or support it, we don't cure, treat, or anything like that, but we can support the body. And then I can just hold it up like this. And I actually have a mirror that you can take on this side. And believe it or not, now you can set it up. You can amplify it because we're using light. So the mirror will actually amplify the effect of these plates by 4 times. So you could set it up, say in the evening, you're reading a book or something, you could put the mirror on one side. And we had this in the conference in Orlando, where we had a chair, we had a table on this side, on the left side, and the large plates on the right side. And you can create a spot where you're getting this photonic light therapy. So you could do that. So the point is that by itself, it's very directional. I can harmonize my computer screen. I can harmonize my smartphone. I've got a phone I can take, and I can harmonize the phone like this.
Just not to go too off piece, but I think that's an important, when you say harmonize the phone, what does that, not to take you off track here, but that's an important thing, because people are like, harmonize the phone? What does that mean? Like, phone's got EMF on it. So if you were to shine the plate onto the phone, you say harmonize. What does that actually mean? What does that do?
Yeah, I had a gentleman who purchased some units, and then he actually shared a lot about his perspective, because he's been testing EMF products for the last 15 years. He's an expert in it. He has a bioresonance device from Germany that he measures what harmonizing is and how these devices harmonize things. And what he says is that to harmonize something is the opposite of what would create stress. So if you think about dis-ease, right? When we're sick, we have a dis-ease. We're not balanced. And so we're in a stressed state. Dis-ease comes from disharmony. And so the ultimate thing in nature, we always want to be harmonized. We want to be balanced. And that's basically what our bodies are always operating for, that scientific word called homeostasis, which is balance. So what he found was that our products were the only ones he had studied in the last 15 years that create a complete harmonization of the body. So our cells were more harmonized, our DNA was harmonized, also our organs and our glands, our nervous system. When it's harmonized, there's a concept of being in balance, left-right balance. Acupuncture world talks a lot about that. You want to remove blockages, create the balance. Same with detoxing. You're going to want that to be that way. So when we think of harmonization, you could also say it's balanced. That's kind of how we think about it. And it means it's also naturally or biologically either beneficial or neutral.
So if you harmonized your phone, how long would it be harmonized for?
Yeah, it'll be harmonized about a week to 2 weeks, depending on how you use it and how often you plug it in. When you plug it in, you get that alternating current back into the phone that will knock it out of the harmony into disharmony again. And then that creates the stress on your body. So you've got a couple of weeks of living good. And, a lot of people will just recommend every Monday morning, just go around and treat your Wi-Fi router if you still have Wi-Fi, treat your phones, your TVs, things like that. So coming full circle to your question, when we take a stand, it has a scalar technology in it. Now, when I put this device on the stand like that and put it in there, the scalar device that's in the base of this interacts with the plate to broadcast the beam of light out to cover the whole house. So the smaller light tower will do about 600 to 800 square feet. So think of it as a bedroom or a den. Whereas this 5-inch light tower will expand that field to cover 1.5 acres. And then the larger light tower, the 7-inch, will cover about 3.5 acres. So we're taking this beam of light and turning it from a laser beam, and we're turning it into a floodlight with that stand. This is what we put on farmers. This is the geofield device. It's quite a bit bigger. You can feel it's a heavier. It's about 12 pounds, but it'll have 4 stacks of those plates in there. And that by itself produces that broad field that'll cover, protect your home, your neighborhood, or almost any size farm.
And obviously you have the pendants, which is what you've got on, what I've got on. So tell me about the coverage for that. So I think that it's a great entry level kind of product into your ecosystem of what you guys offer. Hence what I bought it myself. And it sits on your chest, right? Just around your thymus area, as you said. So what's the coverage? Does that protect your whole body wearing that? I mean, what does the pendant do?
We say it protects you from the inside out. So as the light is coming off this active side back into your body, it's harmonizing your body, creating that resonant field of we call photonics throughout the body. And so you're protected from the inside out. Your biofield, we've measured this too. We all have a field around us. Your biofield becomes more coherent and becomes larger. So there is a sense that people who are in your biofield would benefit from that, but it's more a very indirect way. These are really wearable, they're personal devices versus creating a bubble around you. Again, because we're using photonics, we're using a beam of light versus a frequency generator that creates a 360 degree field. It's just a different way that our plates work.
So literally, since I bought the product, I put it on end of October, and I've only taken it off when I shower, and then it goes straight back on. And I've noticed a very profound difference. And what I noticed was something would come and it would go very quickly. As in, normally you think, oh no, something's coming. And then it would you get it's coming, and then it would just disappear. And I was like, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So that's one thing. Energy has been, in the gym has been really interesting. Just going in and just having really good extra pump. Because you kind of think, oh yeah, it's just, feel good today. And then I was consistently feeling good. The last thing, which is really fascinating, is with my hair. So I turned 40 in June last year, so now entered my 40s. And I was going grey in my kind of early mid-30s when I was going through my health issues, and I detoxed and I reversed it. And I was like, great. So then it's been quite consistent. But then the last couple of years, the greys have started creeping in. And because my hairstyle, it's really exposed, you can see the grey. And that's pretty much reversed again. So again, I'm just like, that's bananas. And I'm going to my wife, can you see? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I don't know. I was showing her pictures of like 3 months ago. Look at that. And she's like, oh yeah, it looks different.
You bring up an interesting point, Adam, because I have felt that there are people who are on the healthier side where they're biohackers or they're really been intentional about their health for years, right? This is actually, it's like taking them to a level that what they just couldn't reach. It was also almost an elusive point that they were trying to get to. They knew their body could get to it. They've tried lots of different things. They've been consistent with their health, but it's been elusive. And I think that the EMF holds us back just a little bit. And this gives us the energy to get over that hurdle to that next elusive state. So that's interesting.
So I'm really dialed into my intuition. And my intuition is saying, don't take this off. That's what's coming through. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll keep it on. So yeah, very, very subtle, but it's like very much sold in technology and very like, wow. For me, it's subtly creeped in where, I'm not getting sick and I'm not sleeping. I'm hardly sleeping. Honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the nights I had awake 5 times. And it was like, I cannot survive. And then I've got to work the whole day because I'm, here serving people. And then going to the gym that day and still feeling like I've still got energy. This is interesting, Things like that. You notice these things. And then you're thinking, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? And then, so then eventually over time, your brain starts to figure out, oh, actually, I'm not doing anything different. Maybe it's this. So it's that. It's like how the brain computes. And that's how I computed it over time. Because I literally didn't think about it. I just put it on and then just cracked on. And then probably, a month in, I'm like, I think it's the necklace. I'm going to keep it on. So that was my experience. I'm really impressed with this technology. And as I said, it's an EMF mitigation, but I think it's so much more because it's charging you up. And honestly, I'm just really glad I ended up just on a whim buying your products. Because honestly, I literally on a whim, I was just like rolling in the good energy. I love conferences because I just love being submerged in just random I love it. And I was in this conversation like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this. Why not? You're like in this shopping spree energy. Yeah, I'll grab that. And I'm really glad I did. And it's been fantastic to connect with you, Dan, because it's honestly I've seen a lot of EMF protection products over the years, and this is that and more. So I really recommend you guys and what you're doing. And I know we just got an affiliate code set up, so I'll put that in the show notes. I would highly recommend, if you're inspired from this conversation, just buy the pendant and just see how you get on. Like that's very, very affordable product, and just see how you get on. And that, I literally, you've heard of my testimony. So yeah, I'm really impressed with what you guys do. So technology like this is so important in terms of what you're bringing out, because not only does it protect with EMF mitigation, it actually charges you up as well. So I think it's very powerful.